This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Time right now is 4:27 here on your Wednesday morning. We want to thank you for starting your day with us here on RTV6. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. We begin with some breaking news from overnight. A boy younger than 12 years old, has been shot and killed on the northeast side. This all happened on the block of Tacoma Avenue. Police aren't releasing many details right now, but they do say when they arrived on scene, the child was alive once he arrived at the hospital, and they tried to save him. He unfortunately passed away. We know very limited details right now, but police are working hard to figure out what exactly happened in this overnight shooting.
So we'll give you any updates as soon as we get more information on that. Next, we want to talk about the latest numbers in the fight against the coronavirus here in the state of Indiana. We know there are more than 2,000 cases right now in the Hoosier state, and we have at least 49 deaths related to COVID-19. So those numbers continuing to rise here day by day. We know almost 1,000 of those cases are here in Marion County, 964. More than 13,000 people have been tested here in the state as well. So we'll continue to keep you updated each day on those numbers and also what the state is doing to fight off this pandemic.
And finally, many kids are at home right now doing e-learning for school, and experts are warning how much screen time is too much screen time. This is already a debate in many households, whether or not kids should be on phones, tablets, watching TV, and now you have the added element of e-learning, which adds more time on those types of products. So experts are giving some advice to parents about how to ensure your child isn't just in front of a screen for their entire day. And the good news here on this April 1st is that the weather will be tolerable today, so that means you can send the kids out in the backyard, Todd.
Yeah, Meredith, today's the day we kind of turned the page on the weather. Yesterday had a very winter-like feel with the clouds and the chilly temperatures. Then we got into a few spotty showers yesterday evening. Those showers have moved out. As you see, Storm Team 6 radar on the center of your screen is completely quiet, with the exception of a few returns there over near the Richmond area. Temperatures this morning still chilly, and we have a lot of clouds around, but we should gradually start to thin those clouds out for some sunshine later on today, but definitely more clouds than sunshine throughout the day today. And temperatures are still below normal, but it's a dry day with a high temperature of 53 degrees. We will kiss the 50s goodbye by tomorrow and say hello to the 60s. And once those 60s arrive, they're going to stay for a while. That is the good news in our extended forecast. We'll share that with you here throughout the morning on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 4:30, a local doctor is offering COVID-19 testing to the public. We'll show you where it's happening and what you need to know before you go.
Life-saving surgeries like organ transplant do not stop because of the coronavirus. What hospitals are doing to keep other patients safe.
And the pandemic is changing the way nursing students are training for their future careers. What the state is doing to make sure they're prepared before they join the front lines. 4:30 here on your Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Lauren Casey. We have Todd Clausen here talking about the forecast for today. Yesterday, Todd, not the best spring day, but we, as you said, are turning a page today.
Yeah, you know, I was driving home from work and I saw the magnolia trees and the flowers were closed. And
yeah.
I was just thinking, boy, these flowers are like, where'd spring go? We came out a little early here, but we're going to try to make our way into the spring-like temperatures over the course of the next few days. Today, still a little on the cool side, especially this morning, but by the next couple days, we should be back into the 60s. 39 right now in Peru as well as Tipton. 42 is the current temperature in Bloomington. Indianapolis sitting right at 40 degrees currently this morning, and a couple 30s out there, so you definitely need the jacket. The clouds are in place, trying to break apart here down to the south, but there's still a lot of moisture in the lower levels of the atmosphere, so it's going to take a little while, but eventually we'll work some sunshine into the forecast. Once this disturbance that brought us the rainfall yesterday continues to push off towards the east. So it's not a bad day and is better than yesterday, as it'll feature more in the way of sunshine in the forecast, and temperatures will eventually get up into the 50s later on this afternoon. As I mentioned, tomorrow the 60s return. More on that coming up in just a little bit. But at 4:31, let's get a look at traffic on this Wednesday morning.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a live look at your commute over on the west side of town. This is I-465 near Crawfordsville Road and I-74. You can see traffic here still pretty quiet this morning. Traveling up to speed both northbound and southbound on your interstate. We'll continue to keep an eye on your roads this morning. Also watch out for some road work and construction. Those barrels are up in some areas this morning.
New overnight, Metro Police are investigating the death of a young boy near Indy's northeast side. Officers were called to the 3200 block of Tacoma Avenue on reports of a person shot around 11 last night. When they arrived, they found a boy under the age of 12 suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. He later died at the hospital. Investigators are still working to figure out what led up to the shooting and who was involved. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. Indiana now has more than 2,000 reported confirmed cases of COVID-19. 49 Hoosiers have died from the virus. A total of 2,159 people have tested positive. 964 of those are in Marion County. There are more than 100 cases in Hamilton and Johnson counties. More than 13,000 Hoosiers have been tested.
A local doctor is holding a pop-up drive-through coronavirus testing in Indianapolis today. Dr. Dorian Kenley is working with a private lab to provide testing to the public. It will be open from 10 to 5 at 1400 East 12th Street in Indianapolis. He's charging $100 fee for the exam. He expects insurance, Medicaid, or Medicare to pay for lab fees. RTV6's Rafael Sanchez talked with Dr. Kenley about the service.
A lot of the testing capacity that we had initially was coming through the state health department, through those agencies. What I did was I contracted with a private lab company who can get me test kits quickly.
The contract with Texas-based AIT Labs, and results are provided within 48 hours. A spokesperson says they're waiting to get FDA approval. So for now, their tests are being processed by Thermo Fisher, which is FDA approved. The Indiana State Department of Health is reminding you COVID-19 tests must be ordered by a doctor. Rafael will have more on this story coming up at 6 o'clock right here on Good Morning Indiana.
An employee at an Amazon fulfillment facility in Indianapolis has tested positive for COVID-19. Amazon confirmed the diagnosis, saying the employee is now in quarantine and will receive up to 2 weeks' pay. Anyone who had contact with this person is also being ordered to self-quarantine with pay. Amazon says they have also increased sanitizing at all of its sites and are implementing steps to ensure social distancing.
From depression to domestic violence to organ transplants, the impact of COVID-19 is raising many health and safety concerns that are not directly related to the virus. Life-saving surgeries are not stopping during the pandemic, but some people on the transplant list are worried. Richard Waltman reached out to RTV6 with questions about whether he'll stay on track to get a new heart and kidney. We took his concerns to the Indiana Donor Network. COO Steve Johnson says the network is taking steps to keep recipients safe. The organization is working with the State Department of Health to make sure that donors are tested for the virus.
We certainly don't want to pass on a virus to someone who is immunosuppressed as a recipient. That is a very, very dangerous thing, and so we're really looking out for those recipients.
RTV6 also reached out to Ascension St. Vincent. The hospital says the post-transplant process has been modified to include virtual consultations.
Amid the calls for more healthcare workers during the pandemic, students planning to go into the medical field have had that training interrupted. The same is true for Marion nursing student Joe Titus. He says his in-person classes stopped March 16th, but like other courses, they are doing their clinicals online so students can still graduate in May. The Indiana State Board of Nursing says it is also streamlining the way nurses are tested and licensed during the COVID-19 outbreak. Titus says he is ready to be on the front lines.
As I am a young, healthy nurse, I can put my best foot forward, and if I happen to contract the virus or a future pandemic like this, I could fight it off better than some people.
To help with the pandemic, Governor Holcomb signed an executive order allowing medical students to apply for a temporary license in the state. Recently retired medical professionals are also able to apply.
Time now is 4:36. President Trump with his most somber message yet, calling on Americans to brace for a really tough 2 weeks. As his medical advisors warn, hundreds of thousands of Americans are likely to die from the virus. This is governors from both sides of the aisle are calling on the federal government to do more. ABC's Inez de la Cotera is in Washington with the very latest.
Overnight, the president predicting a painful 2 weeks.
I want every American to be prepared for the hard days that lie ahead.
As the top doctor on his coronavirus task force warns, even if social distancing rules are followed, as many as 240,000 Americans could die from the disease.
In the next several days to a week or so, we're going to continue to see things go up. We cannot be discouraged by that because the mitigation is actually working and will work.
This as the administration says testing issues have been resolved, but Maryland's Republican governor says no state has enough tests.
That's just not true. I mean, I know that they've taken some steps to create new tests, but they're not actually produced and distributed out to the states.
The administration insisting.
So they are out, they're in the states, they're not being run and not utilized.
Across the country, states and hospitals also battling to get ventilators, one of the critical tools in the fight against the coronavirus.
It's like being on eBay with 50 other states bidding on a ventilator, and you see the bid go up.
Governors asking the president to step in, while President Trump seems to blame the states hit the hardest by the outbreak.
New York got off to a very late start.
Cuomo's communications director responding, this is not the time to debate, but the states were not slow to respond. The federal government was absent.
Despite the message on social distancing, some states are not imposing restrictions. Florida is only limiting activity in the southern part of the state, and Mississippi has only issued a shelter-in-place order for one county. Inez de la Cotera, ABC News, Washington.
Blue Indy is already on its way out of Indianapolis, and now the car-sharing service is suspending operations indefinitely to slow the spread of coronavirus. Kiosks across the city are taped off right now. The company says they're suspending the service until further notice. Blue Indy's agreement with Indianapolis is scheduled to end for good on May 21st.
If you're looking for something to do outside today, you can participate in a virtual cleanup project with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. The group holds hundreds of cleanups a year, and spring is usually their peak time. This year, they're asking volunteers to clean up around their homes and neighborhoods while maintaining that social distancing. Just grab a bag, some gloves, and pick up trash. Snap a picture if you can, and wash your hands and your phone when you're done. The organization says it's a good way to get the community working together during this time.
I want to make it really simple to get as many people involved. And I mean, imagine if all 800,000 plus people in Indianapolis went outside for just 10 minutes and picked up litter, how clean and amazing that would be for the community.
Again, the virtual cleanup is happening this afternoon at 12:15, wherever you are.
With hospitals overwhelmed by coronavirus patients, the Army Corps of Engineers is making it their mission to create more treatment space. Coming up, how they plan to turn more than 300 locations into hospitals.
CNN anchor Chris Cuomo is now among those who have tested positive for COVID-19. Still ahead, how he's describing his experience fighting that disease. Todd.
And last night when you went to sleep, you were likely dealing with some spotty showers in your neighborhood. Those had moved out. That is the good news. Pretty soon the clouds, they will move out as well as we kind of turn the page on this forecast and get into some better weather for the end of the week. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. The time now is 4:40.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 4:43, and here's a live look at traffic over on the west side, I-465 and West 10th Street. Traffic in this area is moving along up to speed. No delays to slow you down.
Grocery stores are working hard to keep their shelves stocked amid the coronavirus outbreak. And today, Vice President Pence says he will be visiting a Walmart distribution center to see how they're keeping up with demand. He thanked Walmart in a tweet highlighting the company's efforts to hire and work around the clock. Pence will visit a location in Virginia along with Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue. The retail chain has also taken new safety precautions at their stores. They include taking employees' temperatures and making gloves and masks available for workers.
At 4:44, a Russian plane carrying aid to help the U.S. to respond to the COVID-19 crisis is expected to arrive today. Government officials say that the plane is loaded with personal protective equipment and other supplies. Any items that are approved by the Food and Drug Administration will be put to immediate use. The Russian embassy in Washington tweeted that it would expect the U.S. manufacturers to do the same for Russia if needed. It's unclear if President Trump promised that the U.S. would share supplies or not.
To help create space for COVID-19 patients, the Army Corps of Engineers is looking at more than 300 locations that they could turn into hospitals. New York City's Javits Convention Center opened as a temporary hospital on Monday. Thousands of beds are now set up to receive patients who are not suffering from COVID-19. The field hospital is staffed with hospital units from Fort Campbell and Fort Hood. Wayne Bracken is the CEO of Kids Medical Services and served in the Navy, helping with field hospitals during hurricanes. He says the Army can set them up in just weeks.
We'll have the feeling of being in a MASH unit. You'll come into a different kind of facility. There'll be higher levels of security. You're clearly, in most cases, going to be going into a structure that's been built, and will have a lot of components that will look like a very sophisticated version of a tent.
The Army is sending field hospitals to Washington State and New Jersey. It says they'll be running by tomorrow. Navy hospital ships that arrived in New York and outside of LA have started accepting non-COVID-19 patients.
CNN anchor Chris Cuomo has been diagnosed with the coronavirus. He says he's feeling well and will still anchor his show Cuomo Primetime from his home. Cuomo was most recently at CNN's offices in New York City last Friday. He is the third person to test positive at that location. Cuomo addressed his diagnosis in a video message calling the news scary.
This is a fight. It's going to get worse. We're going to suffer. And you have to accept that, not with fear, but with almost a fanatical sense of passion to fight.
He says he's quarantined in his basement for the time being. Here at 4:46, let's check in with Todd Clausen and see what we can expect in our Wednesday forecast.
Yeah, it's not a bad forecast for us here throughout the day. Today, we got rid of the rain showers from last night, and as you look from downtown to the north, you can see some low-hanging clouds still across parts of the area, and that's something we will have to deal with over the course of at least the morning hours. We're going to kind of toggle back and forth between partly and mostly cloudy skies, and there's still a chill in the air this morning, with the temperature at 40 degrees, and not much has changed in the wind direction or speed. And the speed's not that much of an issue, 9 miles per hour, but it's this northwesterly wind component that's keeping our temperatures on the cool side. It prevented us from warming much yesterday when we saw highs only in the 40s. Today, though, we'll start to change that wind direction. And that'll be good news for our high temperatures, not only on this Wednesday, but also for the remainder of the week. 40 in Martinsville, 37 in Crawfordsville, 39 is the current temperature in Tipton and Richmond. You're one of the cool spots this morning, along with Crawfordsville sitting at 37 degrees. Throughout the day today, there's definitely more clouds than sunshine this morning across the area, with temperatures that won't really do a whole lot for us as we only remain in the low 40s. Working our way into the afternoon hours, we should start to build in a little more in the way of sunshine. Temperatures will eventually get up to about 48 degrees by 2 p.m. and then eventually highs will climb up into the low 50s. That's still running below normal by about 5 to 6 degrees across the area. But tomorrow, that's when the temperatures will eventually go back above normal. A little bit of a different feel yesterday. If you were watching Radar, you were joining Kevin Gregory yesterday evening. The showers that we had were moving in from the east and then pushing down to the south. That happens here in central Indiana when we have an area of low pressure off to our east and we have the counterclockwise rotation. Typically, we see all our rain and showers move in from a westerly direction. But that area of low pressure will continue to push off to the east. It's taken the rain already. And by the time we get to the afternoon hours, as TrueCast shows you here, we should start start to thin those clouds out just a little bit, and that will give way to some sunshine. We're never going to completely get rid of the clouds, and it's never going to turn into that crystal blue sky with no clouds around, but nonetheless, there will be improvement as the day goes on, and then that improvement continues into the day tomorrow. A nice mixture of sun and clouds with the added sunshine. We're looking at temperatures that'll eventually be climbing up to right around 60 degrees for your afternoon high, and then working our way into the coming days beyond tomorrow. Our normal high, as I mentioned, was right around 58 degrees. And how about this? For the next 5 days, our graph here, which is the orange color, that stays above the average high line. So that means high temperatures Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be in the 60s. You notice that spike on Monday, and that means that the temperatures may eventually climb into the 70s, or should climb into the 70s by Monday and Tuesday. Friday still have dry, some spotty showers on Saturday. I've taken the showers out on Sunday and kind of pushed them into Monday. But any of the showers you see there, whether it's Saturday, Monday, or Tuesday, look to be fairly light in nature and also scattered. Lord.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at traffic for your commute on this Wednesday morning. I-65 and Keystone Avenue on the near south side. You see those orange barrels. We do have scheduled construction in the southbound lanes this morning. You could see some flashing lights there off in the distance. It looks like some of these cones have been pulled back, so that is good news. Traffic still pretty light this morning, so it shouldn't slow you down too much. Just watch for those construction workers, because even though less people are at work, they are out there working on the roads. Let's take a live look right now from our INDOT traffic camera. This one's in the downtown area at the South Split. You can see traffic here pretty light this morning and traveling up to speed.
Uber is now offering 10 million free rides to healthcare workers and seniors during the coronavirus pandemic. The rideshare company says it is working directly with cities, food banks, and hospitals to get people what they need. Uber has already started giving free rides to healthcare workers getting to their jobs and free meals. Lyft announced last week that it's exploring healthcare partnerships for drivers to deliver medical supplies.
Spotify is giving kids stuck at home something new to do with its Spotify Kids app. It includes playlists of songs that can help kids stay healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. Some of the music teaches them how to wash their hands, while others remind them to cough in their elbows. Others cover the alphabet and scientific topics. Companies like Nickelodeon, Disney, and Discovery are also providing some more content that's just for fun. Spotify says they have 8,000 songs available on the Kids app.
Today is April Fool's Day, but it is also National Census Day. Local officials across the nation have been urging Americans to respond to the questionnaires this week. Those in Marion County just got theirs in the mail last month. Many are being urged to fill out the forms online or over the phone. For those who don't, census workers are expected to go door to door in the coming months or when the coronavirus restrictions are lifted. The effort to count all Americans is important because it determines how many representatives in Congress each state will have. It will also affect how much federal money is given to local schools.
At 4:51, Tom Brady is changing teams, but something that won't change is his jersey number. For decades, Brady has worn number 12 as the quarterback of the New England Patriots. Thanks to Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin, he'll get to keep that number. Godwin has worn the number 12 since joining the Bucs in 2017, but out of respect for Brady's career, he offered to give it up to Brady when he joined the team. Godwin will now switch to number 14.
He is one of the top health officials keeping the country updated on the coronavirus crisis, and now he's the face of a popular bakery item after the break why New York business started making the popular Dr. Anthony Fauci donuts.
And with schools closed, kids are working on lessons on computers and parents are turning to TV to keep them busy. New at 5 o'clock, we talk with a pediatrician about how much screen time they should actually be getting. It is 4:52. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Fuel are proud supporters of local literacy.
One of the faces that's become a household name during this pandemic is Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He's part of nearly every coronavirus briefing from the White House, and he is now being honored with baked goods. A donut shop in Rochester, New York is making Dr. Fauci the face of one of its donuts, and they're selling like crazy. Donuts Delight say they're selling well more than 100 an hour. The company lost most of its wholesale clients when the pandemic started, but the Doc Donut is helping the owner keep his staff and bakers employed. Right now, they're only selling in Rochester, but they are working on a plan this week to ship out of state. Hey, that looks good to me. You could put anybody's face face on a donut,
Right?
and I think I would
Yeah,
take
I'd go
a bite.
for those right now.
I'd eat one in a heartbeat. Yeah, now I'm hungry.
Yep.
All right, outside right now, we're dealing with kind of damp conditions still and chilly temperatures, but things will improve as the day goes on. 53, but still more clouds than sunshine today. Tomorrow's when we really start to bring in the nicer weather. 63, partly cloudy, 65 on Friday. Stay in the 60s over the weekend as a stray shower enters the forecast on Saturday. Time now is 4:57. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.